Hey and hello everyone! Today I woke up and thought, if I was just starting with Geometry Dash, what are the things I would absolutely need to know? And a few ideas came to my mind. So, if you're just getting into the game, I would like to welcome you to this here video extravaganza where I have compiled 15 tips for new Geometry Dash players. And even if you're an experienced player who just stumbled their way here, make sure to share this video if you have a friend that you think might benefit from anything you hear me talk about. If you don't know me, which I'm assuming most of you don't, then hi, my name is Amthor. I am the guy behind the camera here, and actually a pretty decent GD player, starting in early 2020 and so far accumulating around 4,000 hours, with my current hardest completion being Killbot. With that amount of playtime and a few pretty interesting experiences under my belt, I believe I have some talking points worth sharing. That's what this video is for. Also, since I am not a creator, I will only be focusing on the playing side of things. If some creator is watching this video, if you make levels, free content idea, just apply this to the editor. Without further ado, let's get into the actual video. I see this mistake way too often when people are starting out, and I fell victim to it as well. When I just got into the game, I felt like using practice mode was unnecessary, and I could just brute force my way from the start. And while it might work for easier levels, you will very quickly hit a wall. So remember that there's no shame in using practice mode. It helps you get familiar with the entire level and enables you to learn everything way quicker. Additionally, if you play from a specific point later on in the level, let's say 70%, and you do that to the end, you familiarize yourself with the part, which helps you with nerves and will ensure you die there less once you actually reach it from the start. That's called doing runs, and it's a very important part of playing the game later on. I can guarantee you that without doing runs, I would not be anywhere near the skill level I currently am. While, don't get me wrong, there are some really good players that don't use any mods. Great example of that is the content creator Aeon Air, who plays totally vanilla. I think there is some incredible potential with modding the game. So, I'd really recommend installing the mod client called Geode. It is totally free to use and grants access to a lot of quality of life features. In Geode you will be able to find a lot of mods, but I feel like a mod menu is basically necessary. Now, there are some free ones, there are paid ones. I personally use Mega Hack, which is like the original mod menu. It is paid, it's like $5 or $7 one-time payment, depends on the country, because taxes, obviously. But it has some really good features, and there are some free alternatives. If you can't afford it, then I believe it's called Eclipse. I don't know, I haven't tested it because, again, I have Mega Hack, but from what I've heard, it's actually pretty good. So I would recommend installing Eclipse if you can't buy Mega Hack. If you can, spend like $5 to $7. I think it's a good investment, but, you know, I digress. Now, if you're new, you probably don't know what I mean when I say jumping. So, let me break it down for you. What I mean by jumping is a progression skip, where you go from a level within your skill range, from the hardest level you've beaten, to something way harder. You might have heard, if you're getting into the community, that the current best player in the entire game, Zoink, actually did a jump from Bloodbath, a relatively easy extreme demon, I'm gonna get flamed for that take, to Zodiac, which is a level currently sitting in the 150 hardest levels of all time. I am not gonna say that you shouldn't jump. I think I can't really even say that, since I also jumped some time ago. But, because of my experience, I can say with confidence that jumping is way harder than you could ever expect it to be. I have a few tips on how I think you could jump more easily, but that's a long talk for a whole other video. So if you want to see that, feel free to let me know in the comments, and while you're down there, oh my god, look at this cool little button right there, I wonder what it does. Shameless plugs, it wouldn't be my channel without shamelessly plugging myself. You're playing a level and just got 90% on it. Congratulations, that means you're about to beat it, right?
No.
It really doesn't matter what your progress is. If you cannot get far in a level consistently, sorry to say, but you most likely won't be able to beat it. And I'm speaking from experience here. I have had situations where I get a lot of progress pretty quickly and then just cannot get back there for the life of me, which feels very demotivating when you think about that as your progress. So, even if your best says 80%, but you can't really get past 40, I believe that you should consider your progress to be 40, since that's what you can realistically expect when pressing play. I sometimes see people get into the game with an expectation that they will get pretty decent very fast, and then get humbled by levels like X step. I am not saying you can't get good at the game fast. There are people that breeze through the main levels while only having picked up the game a week or two prior, but I would like to highlight that these people are an abnormality. Getting into the game is difficult because it takes a long time to get a feel for all the mechanics, so don't just press play while thinking it's all gonna be easy and smooth sailing. Trust me, Geometry Dash is a really challenging game with a pretty steep learning curve. But that's kinda the beauty of it if you ask me. I mean, the game weeds out the players who wouldn't be able to handle harder levels like pretty early on. So if you actually sit down and grind the game out, there's a big probability of you becoming a good player. And just keep in mind that it takes a long time. I've been playing the game for 6 years and I'm nowhere near being a top player. So take that how you will. Okay, so there are people out there that have, well, how do I say this nicely?
Absolutely terrible opinions when it comes to attempt counts.
I have interacted with people who think that bigger attempt counts make you a worse player, and you can only call yourself good if you can beat something in your skill range quickly. That is not true whatsoever. There's a lot that goes into an attempt count. Some players take a long time to learn a level and then beat it very quickly once they know everything. Some people don't have a lot of time to play, so they have to regain their consistency a lot. My take stands that a big attempt count does not mean you're a bad player. It shows just how dedicated you are to beating a level. Doesn't matter if you take 100 or 100,000 attempts, if you beat a level, you beat it. That's what matters in the end. This always felt really obvious for me, but apparently not everyone gets it. Let's set the scene. You and your friend are playing the game. Both of you beat the same 2 levels recently. You found one of them to be a lot more difficult and pretty annoying to play. Your friend, on the other hand, thought it was way easier and actually really fun. So, who's in the right here? Well, both of you would be right. You both are different people, you enjoy different things. You might find a specific skill set harder or more annoying, but that does not make the level objectively harder or less fun. People in this community seem to forget that opinions are just that, opinions, totally subjective. So, while I would say you can use other players' opinions as a guide to see what levels you could potentially play and enjoy, go into everything with an open mind because your experience will differ, okay? Okay, I believe this is the most important tip of the entire video without question, purely because I don't see enough people talking about it. Geometry Dash is a single button game, and since the controls are so limited, the skill ceiling is very high, and yeah, I still think we are far from reaching the physical limits of what's possible. With that being said, however, most of the game actually happens in your head, and when people are just getting into Geometry Dash and asking for tips, I see others saying to just play more. Which, well, yes, that is true. You will not get good at a game without playing that game. Duh. People don't mention just how mentally draining this game can be, especially when you're getting into the more difficult levels. Motivation and nerves being the most obvious examples, in my opinion. It's one thing to play, but it's something completely different to go play that one level you've been stuck on for weeks at this point and just not destroy your entire setup because you can't seem to make any progress. Sadly, I am not one to talk psychology, so I cannot help as much as I'd like. Won't be able to tell you how to fix your mental approach. All I can really ask for is for you to be aware that while physical skill is one thing, a lot of the game actually happens up here. Oh, I know, I just told you to make friends. How dare I? But I do think that just sitting and playing the game by yourself isn't as rewarding if you don't have people who are also invested. I'm not telling you to join some enormous communities of 10,000 people, but hey, having even 1 or 2 friends that also play is nice, because, well, you can share your achievements, beating hard levels or otherwise. And if somebody's struggling on a level that you've beaten, I mean, that's bragging rights for you, I don't know what to tell ya. Now, as a person who really doesn't find himself in bigger circles, the GD Twitch page always has some smaller streamer live. So, go there, go to Twitch, take a scroll, find a person you vibe with and stick around. And who knows, you might even catch me live once in a while. Wait, doesn't this clash with the previous tip, I hear you ask? No, it doesn't, and let me explain why. There are the good and bad kinds of comparison. When you're looking at players way better than you, the best of the best, that actually gets some recognition in the bigger GD community, you might feel really discouraged. But if you have a friend, especially around the same skill level as you, some rivalries are actually a good thing. They give you that motivation boost, because, I mean, come on, you can't let a guy who cycles as hard as be better than you, right? You have to remember, though, that the most important thing is always pushing your own limits. Be it either to catch up to a friend that's better, or stay ahead of one who's worse. The only way to get better at this game is to challenge yourself and push your limits. Those friendly rivalries can be a good motivation, but your improvement is yours alone. Something I never understood is people calling GD a rhythm game, when it's far from it. Even on its Steam page, it says rhythm-based action platformer. So I do not understand where that misconception was born. While it's true that there are levels that heavily rely on music sync, there's way more that just do their own thing. This ain't Osu, where you always have to sync the map to the song. Levels like Prismatic Haze do follow the music pretty well, while things like Blade of Justice exist, where music sync leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, take a listen for yourself if you want to. I totally understand that there are skill sets people find more fun. That's totally okay and basically expected. But I don't think you should purely focus on these. Practicing things like game modes and gameplay styles you're not really a fan of is also pretty important. Focusing on the skill sets you like makes you good at them, yes, but you will really struggle with levels that don't match what you're used to. For example, I'm not the biggest fan of the wave game mode, but I'm still practicing it and I want to get better at it, just to not struggle later on down the line when I play levels that focus more on the wave. And so, despite there being levels with skill sets I enjoy way more, I am currently playing Sonic Wave, which is a perfect segue to shamelessly plug my Twitch channel, yeah! You don't always have to be in the mood to play the game, or even a specific level. At times, you open Geometry Dash just to later realize you really don't want anything to do with it that day. That happens, so remember that it's okay to take breaks. However, with that being said, you must realize that your consistency will most definitely drop after taking a longer break. And as such, you will have to grind a bit to get all that muscle memory back. We call that derusting. But as I said earlier, mental is very important in this game. So taking breaks is recommended at times. Just be aware of your consistency. That's why I don't think breaks should be too long, because you might be off the game for a few weeks, come back and then realize you basically can't play at all. It's really easy to lose the flow in the game, and upon your return from a longer break, you will just have to get back into the rhythm of playing. I might be repeating myself a tiny bit with this one, because I mentioned it somewhat earlier on, but you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to get better. Be it playing harder levels or levels you don't particularly enjoy, you need to find things that challenge you, push yourself beyond what you thought was possible, raise that skill ceiling. Of course, you don't have to do that all the time. Just because my hardest demon is Skillbot doesn't mean I'm playing only hard levels. I sometimes take a break and beat something easier, obviously. But if you strive to be better at the game, that's really the only way you can achieve that. And in the very end, the most important of it all, have fun. Everyone plays the game differently, and whilst in this video I focused a lot on what to do if you want to be the best player that you can be, there are tons of things you can do, from playing to creating levels and making content. As you play, you will figure out what you want to do, and despite everything that I've said in the video, what you want to do is infinitely times more important, because, well, after all, it's just a game, and games are supposed to be fun. So if you're not having fun, why should you even play the game? And would you look at that, you've made it to the end of the video. I'm honestly pretty surprised. I don't do these kinds of videos a whole lot, so if you enjoyed it, the like button is right there. No, but seriously, thank you so much for watching. You do not know how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day just to watch this guy here yap. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, I have a few ideas, and I might just work on them, you never know. Now, there's nothing more left for me to say, so I'll be taking my leave. Thank you one last time, and hopefully I'll show up on your YouTube page once more someday. See ya! But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. I just fucked up on the very last word. Content. Do you familiarize yourself with... I said that like there's something following that. You know, there's more sentence. There is no more sentence. God damn it. Why can't I read the script, brother? So I'd really recommend installing. I am installing the game. God damn it. Why am I installing the game? Brother, words. Jump from bloodbath. To say, but you most likely won't be able to beat it. God damn it. English is a language. You know that? I know that. It is a very interesting language. And apparently very fucking hard to pronounce. Approach to a I'm gonna have a stroke. Have to always. I have to always be a dumbass, I guess. I totally understand that there are... While I play levels that fall. No. Sentence yourself better, Andy.